Hello, Mighty Warriors. It's Alicia today, and I wanted to jump on here and do a face to face video um, about what it means to wait on the Lord. And, you know, in the last few weeks in my life, God has really been putting me through the test of waiting on Him. And it really started to bring to mind some of the scriptures, the stories in the Bible, um, such as Sarah and Abraham waiting on the birth of their child and getting up there in their age and having this temptation to intervene and just struggling with waiting on him to provide. But as I started thinking about, all the instances of waiting in the Bible, it just became clear that God was often using these long waits to either develop the character of the person waiting or to see who they really were, to really investigate and search their heart and see what they would do when tasked with waiting. And, in many instances with Sarah and Abraham and Rebecca and Jacob both, we see that the temptation to intervene and try to work things out in one's own power is so strong. And in those instances, they succumb to them. But we know that God, when God says that He's going to do something, even though we don't know when or how or where, we know that He's always going to come through. And, in the situation with Sarah and Abraham, of course, we know they orchestrated a whole rendezvous to have this other child. And we know that with Jacob and Rebecca, they orchestrated this whole scheme to try to steal the birthright. And I found myself in my own trials and tribulations at the pressure of waiting. Um, you know, it does lead to the person, trying to figure out how they can force God's hand. How can I get him to move faster? What can I do to preserve this situation? What can I do to prevent something bad from happening? But I find that God is actually pushing us to that moment. He's kind of pushing us to that moment of desperation because He wants to see if we will surrender or if we will have a sense of entitlement and think that we have the right to just do whatever we want and take whatever we want or, steal whatever we want. So, the reason why I did this video is because I wanted to encourage anyone who is in a season of waiting on the Lord. Really consider the scriptures and the consequences of not waiting, and really consider that God understands that He's pushing you to a point of desperation. He's putting you there for a reason because He's trying to see your true character when things get hot, when things get really stressful, when things get really down to the wire. He wants to see, who you are and if you will trust in Him or if you will try to take things into your own power and into your own hand and manipulate the situation. So, for anybody out there who's going through a waiting season, trust in the Lord. Understand that, if He asks you to do something, if He tells you to do something, He's got you. You don't need to try to manipulate the situation, take control, try to put together your own little scheme to get the job done. He's got you. He's got it figured out. He's just waiting on you to see what your character is. He wants to see what you will do, what is in your heart, if you can wait or if you will struggle with the wait and get entitled. So, there's a lot of value that can be gleaned in a waiting season on both sides. I mean, God can really see who you are. He can really test you, but you can also, learn how to really surrender to God the way He wants you to surrender to Him. And it's not like a half hearted surrender where you say, "Oh, yeah, Lord, I'm surrendering," but you're still in the background working with your own hands to do things. He wants you to really surrender and really just give up control. So I hope that this blesses someone. I love you. If you like the content on these channels or on this channel, please subscribe and like. This is a revenue-free channel. I do it for the Lord because He has blessed me with wisdom. And as I go through my walk with Him and my trials and tribulations, I want to help the next person go through their walk. And so when He reveals something to me, I want to make sure that I reveal it to you and make it plain so that you will understand when you're going through that same season. So if you like the content, like, subscribe, leave a comment, just so I can get some feedback from you guys. I love you. Until next time, signing off.